Awesome. So let me get the ladies' perspective here, because I'm not going to do the typical, so what are you guys watching porn? That's just like a basic question. But what I want to know is, like, let's say you find out your man is watching porn, or he's watching too much porn, or you're going through a drought in your relationship where you're not having sex, and maybe you know he's watching porn. Give me like a little glimpse of what type of conversations would you have with your man about porn. Like, you guys recognize that whether it's your husband, I don't know what he's doing now, but he's done in the past. I'm sure the men you've dated all do this. Give me a little insight to the mind of a woman when it comes to their man and what they're watching.
Well, I did Playboy, Hustler, Maxima, Penthouse, Bunny Ranch, and I've been top 20 cam model of the nation. So I've always been that it girl that when you meet me, you definitely gonna know I was online. So if my guy did watch it, it was maybe my friend. And I didn't care.
What do you mean it was your friend?
Whether it's a porn star or a cam model, it's somebody that I've seen in conventions.
Oh, like
she's
if
like
he's
my
fapping
friend.
it, he's watching one of her friends.
Because I'm in the industry, but not in porn, but camming is the same thing, but not on camera. But live cam through chatting. So when you were saying like the feeling of touching someone without touching them, that's all I did was give a imagination. And I did $15 a minute just selling myself boobs, private, and I never had to do a porn. You came in line, you did private shows, you
So
signed
you're
into
saying
my
that
chat
if you go to remember that dream man you were talking about, 6'1", tons of fun, makes $1 billion a year doing his thing, and you found out that he was fapping to porno. Walk me through what conversation you would have with him.
I would ask him, what do you enjoy? Because we might enjoy together. We might enjoy the same thing.
Way to flip it to your benefit.
Yeah, we might enjoy
He's like, hey,
together.
I'm all about threesome porn. You're like,
and I
well,
might not want to do
let
it,
me
but
make a
if you're-
phone call.
No. But if you enjoy it and you like have the fantasy, if you're watching it, we can watch it together. I
So
mean,
give me
I'm
an
not
example.
into
All right, let's go
I'm
here.
not into three-way.
Give me an example of...
Because it's kind of boring. You don't know if you're doing too much with her or you're doing too much with me. It's like,
Yeah, that's always what I hear. All those threesomes are so boring.
Like, it's not boring, but...
Maybe I don't know if I want a threesome. Sounds horribly boring to
Can we get it
me.
together?
Okay,
like,
so if you would,
wiggle it?
entertain me, give me an example of something realistically that if your man was like, well, I like watching this, that you'd be open to, versus he's like, yeah, I'm into this. You're like, I ain't open to that.
I'm open to anything besides it just gotta fit. I'm open to threesomes.
Literally?
I'm open to anything. But it has to, how can I say it without getting too deep? It just, if I was willing to be a cam model porn star, I'm willing to be open to see it.
Gotcha.
Open to touch it. But it has to just make sense, I should say.
Okay, let's go to the more traditional
Right.
woman. When you right, off the camera.
I'm over here in a
Okay, so
deep
but
end.
what I'm saying is there's a lot that you're open to, you're comfortable with
I'm
it.
not- yeah.
Keeping in mind, I've been in the industry. Some of the girls that you might even be fantasizing about
Not
are the
gonna do
homies.
nothing.
But okay,
Oh, sorry.
so from more of a traditional
I
woman
will.
who is, into good-looking men, you understand, men kind of do their thing. Have you ever had to have these kind of conversations when you hear the things that she's open to? Help the men out there. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to get into your personal
No, it's
life.
fine.
I want to know what men should
Traditional.
know about the conversations with their significant others in porn.
It's not a conversation that happens in my house. Like, I put out, number one. Number two, my husband is Gen X, so there was a lot of delayed gratification just when it comes to porn in the first place. It's like you had to go and find a magazine or a
Oh my
VHS
God.
tape. You weren't even able to get it. Like, you remember back in the day, you could get it in the gas station and they would black out the front of it. You can't even do that anymore. So it's not really a problem for me. I see a lot of my girlfriends who are with younger men, that seems to be an issue. But I think a lot of the times when we have a conversation about porn, it's worse than people think, because the average exposure, the average age of exposure right now for young boys is 11. So if you're not paying, you're the product. So these gentlemen are getting addicted. It's not a physical addiction, it's a habitual addiction. They're getting addicted when they're like 11 or younger and they don't know anything. And so I've had girlfriends too who they'll be hooking up with a guy and they can't read the room. They'll like start choking them or spit on them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And because they think that that's what it's supposed to be like. Yeah. So, but this is a problem. Again, with fathers, women, if you could, try to sleep with a man and get pregnant by a man who's going to stick around, exercise discernment, ladies, or keep your legs closed. Your dad is supposed to be able to take you to the side as a young man and be like, all right, look, this is how you put it on her. Like, if I had a son, I'm completely confident that my husband, when the time was right, could have, they could go camping. He could be like, all right, listen, this is how you do it with the ladies. Sterling, if you had a son, you could be like, this is how you put it on her. But we have, like, women that marry men that they're not attracted to, and they're probably not having any kind of polarity in the marriage as well. So obviously, beta daddy isn't getting insatiable mommy off at all. We don't have that. That's supposed to be a normal conversation that a grown man has with his growing teen boy, and it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. I have a would you rather for you, Aly.
Oh my God, stop though. Yeah, let's do it.
Would you rather your husband cheat on you, or would you rather him watch porn?
This is like, I don't even think of this stuff in my life.
I know you don't. That's why I thought
would
of it
I
for
rather,
you.
I guess I would rather him look at the porn. But I have some girlfriends. These women are crazy.
Yeah.
They literally think that if your man is watching porn, it's the same thing as if he was cheating with a woman in real life. And I just think that that's not true. Like, just say you're with a man who's addicted and leave it at that. Like, stop trying to equate the two, because I don't think it's the same thing. You should be way angrier if he actually put it in another woman.
I would let my man watch porn all day and cam. All day.
They're probably
in the room.
They're probably angry at the fact
What you doing? Open the door.
They're probably angry at the fact that he's watching so much porn that he isn't even trying to hit it on with her anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the sex is gone from the marriage entirely because his sex drive is, for her specifically, is like nil.
Yeah. And by the way, have you ever been in a situation where, like, it's the middle of the night and your girl slaps you or she's like, yeah, in my dream you were cheating on me. And I was like, I'm fucking home. I'm here. What are you talking about?
No.
That happens sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't happen to me in the dream scenario because
That's crazy, right?
because they know I'm cheating on them in real life. So I don't have that problem.
She went to sleep and dreamed about you.
Respect. Well, to your point, you bring up such a good point about the ease of which porn is acquired these days. Sterling, we're right around the same age, give or take. You know and I know. Growing up in the 80s and the 90s, how hard it was for a young adolescent boy to get him some porn.
Right.
You had to go steal some Playboy from your uncle.
That's what I did.
You had to
Still
go
play with my
borrow.
grandpa.
You had hiding spots. There were, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Treasure trove. You were doing barter,
really still play with my
trading,
grandpa.
like you're doing the fur trade in the fucking Native
crazy.
American days and you're the French Revolution.
You kids
and
don't
you're
even
trading
realize how
porn.
hard it was to
All
back.
these days, you just gotta speak about instant gratification.
Right.
Now you can just go on your phone. You were jerking off to crumbled up pictures of Victoria's Secret catalogs. This is the lengths of which we used to do to. And this is in the 80s and 90s, brother. Imagine our parents, black and white photos of who knows. And now these days, they go on their phone. They're the most ridiculous porn, gangbang, ridiculous, choking out, spitting things you've ever seen. And they're 12 years old, and they think that's reality. Which leads me to my next point. You ever see, like, right now there's a big, I think it's a Hulu doc, Pam and Tommy, Pamela
I've seen it.
Anderson.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
one of the amazing things that she discussed
person?
with her son, this is pretty public information, is that the son was doing the spitting, the choking, this type of thing. He's like, this is what I've seen in porn. And she's like, listen, you're talking to Pamela Anderson here. You're my son,
Right.
okay? I'm pretty sure that the dad is Tommy Lee, right? Okay? Well-endowed rock star gentleman,
Massive.
heroin chic, doing his thing. And she's like, listen, that's not what ladies are into. And if you do find a lady that's into that, it's better to like, are you into this? Can I do this? Is this okay with you? Do you like how that feels?
Yeah.
You don't just start choking, slapping, spitting on women that you just meet. Word to the wise out there, young men. Don't catch a charge. But it's just like times have changed so much. Whether it's the get-rich-quick mentality of crypto, whether it's the instant gratification or the microwave hustle society, the microwave culture, like everything can come so easily these days, right? You want something, you just order it on Amazon. You want some groceries, you're on Instacart, right? You want some porn, just go online. But someone told me the other day, they said, just because it feels good doesn't mean that it's actually good for you.
Yes.
And I feel like that's kind of the situation that
With
young men need to
masturbating?
find themselves in with porn, is like, just because it's accessible, you're home, it's COVID, it's easy, you're on lockdown, boom, you know, you're on YouPorn, do whatever.com, just because it feels good, it might not necessarily be good for you. So great point that you made with that. The ease of
Can
porn.
I touch on that?
Yeah, of course.
Really briefly, that idea of like young men especially sort of getting into these positions with their partner where they're stepping across a boundary, right? They're doing something that she's not into, like very extreme, like spitting, slapping, choking, whatever it is. One of the things that I teach guys primarily is to like this idea of reading her body language in the context. Like you said, read the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, read the room.
Read the room in the first place.
If she's shivering in a corner, you might not want to do that again, buddy.
If there's no booty pics on the
she's not-
Instagram.
Now, I will say that in my experience and in the experience of a lot of my friends, especially, you know, younger women, you know, women in their like, you know, 20s to like late 30s, they tend to like a guy who's a lot more dominant, a lot more aggressive in the bedroom. They tend to be into these kind of things. However, they're not into it for every guy. And that's a key distinction. It's a very important point. They're not into
That's
that.
true.
They don't want every guy to do that to them. They want a certain guy
Of course.
to do that to them. A guy who comes across with that dominant energy, with that confident dominant energy. Because there's a big difference between a guy who knows how to choke a girl properly,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Because there's a correct way to do it,
Right.
and there's a very, very, very incorrect way to do it.
Yeah.
But the guy
There's
who,
a nice romantic
Suppose.
choking,
Yeah.
and there's a psychopath
a
killer
hand
mentality.
yeah,
of
I'm
choking.
actually going to hurt you.
Guy,
Trey.
yeah, exactly.
Very different.
Vibe, you know, the way that go ahead.
But the guy,
Not that I would ever, ladies.
if you
Unless you like it.
actually, this is a great question to ask these ladies, right? In that sexual context, if you're with your partner, and let's say 2 scenarios, same exact guy, same exact situation. One guy is confident in reading your body language, and he's picked up good positive signs from you, and he goes to say do something like choking on you, right? Versus the other guy who is a bit unsure of himself and he can't quite tell if you want to do it, if you're into it or not, and then he just goes for it, right? I would be curious to know. I mean, I'm confident in the answer already, but which of those two makes you more uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable? The guy who doesn't know what he's doing.
The guy who doesn't know what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
The guy who's not sure of himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point, right? There's
Yeah.
certain men who have experience in the bedroom or know what they're doing in the bedroom. They come across a certain way to women. They come across with that sexual energy. And a woman will pick up on that, and she'll
on,
ping off a guy and be like, I want this guy to do these things to me.
Yeah.
Because he
Sterling,
knows what
this
he's
is
doing.
why the first question I asked you at the top of the show was having confidence and what it
Right, we
leads you
back-
in life.
But it's also
And I
tying into
said in the boardroom and in the bedroom.
but also tying into what you said, competence leads to confidence.
Experience.
Right? So a guy can't be confident in that situation if he actually doesn't have a clue
I
what he's
think
doing.
what you're recommending is young men, go choke out a cougar every once in a while, get your experience, and then from there, take it down to the ladies that are your age or
Look,
younger than you.
Your words, not mine. Go choke out a cougar.
That.
Quote unquote, Soz, go choke out a cougar. So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.